Okay. So with with no other comments, let me introduce our first pod who's going to do a workshop, and we're going to do the IDE workshop. So I'll just hand the floor to you.
All right, everyone. I'm Momin. It's my group mates Omar and Layla, and we did our workshop on integrated development environments, also known as IDEs. So first, we're going to be talking about what are IDEs, then we're going to talk about what is Visual Studio Code specifically. Then we're going to get into our tutorial. And then we're going to show some extra features on Visual Studio Code. And then we're going to talk about why you should use Visual Studio Code over other IDEs. Okay, so what is an IDE? An IDE is basically a software application that lets you use tools for software development, and it typically includes stuff like a code editor for writing and editing code, and syntax highlighting and code completion. It has a compiler and an interpreter, which are tools to convert code into a machine readable format or run scripts directly. They also have debuggers, which are ways to test and debug code by running it step by step, allowing developers to inspect variables and control flow. They also have build automation tools, which are features to automate tasks like compiling code, running tests, and packaging applications. And they also have version control integration, which are tools to manage code versions using systems like Git. And examples of popular IDEs include Visual Studio Code, which we're going to talk about today, PyCharm, and Eclipse. They help streamline coding process by integrating all the tools available for a developer into a single application.
All right, so now what is Visual Studio Code specifically? It's also referred to as VS Code. It's a free open source code editor developed by Microsoft. It's highly popular among developers because it's lightweight and has a lot of extensive features, which makes it versatile for a wide range of programming languages and development tasks. Some of the features, as we mentioned, it's a code editor. It has a lot of features such as IntelliSense. It auto completes what you're trying to type. It's very helpful. Syntax highlighting, code completion, stuff like that. Extensions, which we're going to go through a few of them in our presentation. But yeah, it's very useful for support for additional languages, frameworks, tools, other functionalities. An integrated terminal. So instead of having to open your own terminal and navigating to the folder, it automatically within Visual Studio Code, you open the terminal and it's already in the folder for your repository or your project. Version control, it has built-in support for Git, which makes it easy to manage source control and collaborate with others. It has a debugger, which you can kind of put breakpoints in there. So you can run the program, it stops at the breakpoints and it shows a bunch of the variables and the values of those variables, stuff like that. Cross-platform, you can use it for Windows, Mac, Linux. You can also use it on different devices too. And you can do it through the browser. You don't have to actually download the app. And customizable, you can customize the appearance, the shortcuts, like the hotkeys, and the behaviors to fit your workflow. So overall, it's highly regarded for its speed, flexibility, and ease of use, which makes it popular for both beginners and experienced developers.
Okay. Here is our first tutorial, how to download and install Visual Studio Code.
Download and install Visual Studio Code under Windows desktop or laptop. So in any browser that you have, just search Visual Studio Code. Searching it up on Google Chrome, so the first thing that pops up, Visual Studio Code, the official website. Just want to click on that. The URL is code.visualstudio.com. It's going to be in the official instruction guide. But yeah, I just want to click download for Windows right here. It's going to download. Click on an installation package, accept the agreement, click next, and then install. I already have it installed, so I'm not going to install it again. But yeah, and if let's say we're going to use Python, you want Python installed onto your Windows machine. So go to search up Python in Google, and it's the first thing that pops up, python.org.
want to click on that, go to downloads, and then download the official Python version onto your Windows machine. And yeah, so after you're done downloading Visual Studio Code, you just want to click on the Visual Studio Code desktop icon or search it up in your Windows search bar. And yeah, it's the official welcome screen for the Visual Studio Code IDE. And if you want to make sure that Python was correctly installed onto your PC, you can just do py -- version. You can see here that Python version 3.12.5 was correctly installed onto my machine.
Okay, so y'all see, it's not so bad. You just look up in Windows Explorer or Chrome Visual Studio and you download it. Now, one thing to note, we're going to talk about extensions later on, but you have to know that you need to download Python itself before you can use the Python extension. And that's what Momin said and examined during that tutorial. And of course, just remember, it's py -- version for you to make sure that you've successfully installed Python on your PC.
Okay, now let's look at how to use Python within Visual Studio Code. Let's look at the tutorial.
Okay, now let's look at actually creating a Python project within the Visual Studio Code IDE. So first, you're gonna want to come down here, these little 4 squares at the left sidebar. Click on that. You wanna first download the Code Runner installation, Code Runner extension. You just want to search up Code Runner up here in the search bar and install Code Runner. This will help you run any type of programming language within Visual Studio Code easily by just the click of a button, so you don't have to type anything into your terminal. So yes, you want to make life easier, download the Code Runner installation into Visual Studio Code, and then you're obviously going to want to install the official Python extension as well within Visual Studio Code. So yeah, search up Python, should be the first one that pops up. It's the official Python extension from Microsoft.com. You're gonna want to install that. Okay, so now if you want to actually make a Python project, you can just click on open folder, and let's create a new folder for our Python projects. Let's name it Python projects. Select folder. And you see right here, we're now inside the Python projects folder within the Visual Studio Code IDE, and you're going to click on new file, and let's call it test.py. So now let's type in anything. Just type in any random code. Let's start with hello world. Let's print hello world. Save the file. And then, yeah, so since we downloaded the Code Runner extension, we can just click on run Python file, and it will run it down here. So you can see it says hello world, but we can also run it from terminal. We can write py test.py, and it says hello world right here.
Yeah, so basically what we did in that tutorial is VS Code, you go to the extensions icon on the left side. If you don't like running code from the terminal, you can install the Code Runner extension. Just makes life easier, just click a button and runs your code. And then obviously you need to install the Python extension. And then after that, you want to make a Python project folder to like house whatever projects you want to make, and then create a new file, name it whatever, and then type something in there. I don't know, like print hello world, And then, like I said, the code extension on the top right, you can click on that and you can click run Python file. That will run Python within Visual Studio Code, or you can go in the bottom and use the built-in terminal in Visual Studio Code. And both of those should run and display your code. And you basically do that by, in the terminal, you can type py, then your file name, or sometimes you can type out Python fully depending on your system. And yeah,
So now we're gonna go into a little bit of how to download and install Git, initialize a repository, and then commit and push once you have that repository initialized. Hello guys, I'm going to be showing you how to download and install Git on your computer and then use it in Visual Studio Code to commit and push and initialize a repository, many other things. So first you come to git-scm.com, the downloads. I'm on Windows right now, but I'll just show real quick something about Mac. These are all the options to download for Mac. And I have information about each of them, most of them in the documentation that we'll send to all you guys. But my favorite is Xcode, since you just have to use the Apple App Store. You download and install Xcode and Git will come with it. So, but you can use any method you want. So now in Windows, you come over here, click Windows, click here to download. It'll download. I already have it downloaded, so it takes some time. So let me do it. I can open it. If you haven't already downloaded and installed it in the past, this won't show up. So I'm just going to go with not only showing the new options. So over here, I just keep all this the same. Vim, yeah, I just keep that the same. Now, over here, let Git decide to choose master branch, which is not what we want because that's how GitHub used to be. The main branch used to be master, but now we want to override, make sure it goes to the default branch main. So this I'd keep it the same, recommended. That I'd keep it the same. This too. This I would change to the middle. That I'd keep the same. That I'd keep the same. That too. And then I'd uncheck that. Next, and click install. But I don't want to because I already have it installed. But all those are like your own preference. You can read them and go through each one, but that's usually the settings I like to use. So now that we have Git installed, actually we should make sure we have it installed. You can either use command prompt or any other terminal you have. I just use command prompt. Git -- version. That's how you check. So if it gives you a version, you have it installed. If not, probably don't, and you should try again. Now in Visual Studio Code, so to start a new project, this is probably how it'll look most of the time when you open it. But if you already have like a folder that you created to start a new project, you go to it. I made one before I started the video. I saved it in my programs folder. IDE project, where is it? I actually forgot to recreate it. Let's just do it right now then. IDE project. There you go. Now you can open that one, select folder. So now it's open. So it's pretty, I have like 4 methods in the documentation to initialize the repository. I think the easiest is just come here to source control and initialize repository. If you want to try the other ones, you would need either the code spaces extension you could get through here, or the repositories extension. You can follow the directions in the documentation to figure those out. But I think the easiest way is to do it through source control. And now you can't publish branch quite yet because you don't have any files. So just create one. I'd say IDE.py. And about this Py extension is to make it into the Python language. And I recommend, if you don't already have it, bringing the Python extension. I think we may have shown it in a previous video, but yeah, you type in Python and extensions, download that one. It'll also bring the debugger. The reason for adding this is so that, for example, I press PR, it'll autocomplete and have a bunch of good information for us. It's all IntelliSense. It helps coders very much. So yeah. Now now that you have like your own thing, you could come commit and push. But first, I want to create a folder for you guys because you should be submitting our like final deliverable in this repository. I think that would be a great plan. So I'll just create this folder for you guys to submit. I'll make a README in here so that it actually gets added to the GitHub. You see it's turning blue. So it's actually being tracked. Well, it says untracked, but once you stage it, it'll be tracked. So yeah, you need a file in a folder for it to actually go to the repository. I'll just say this is where to add submissions. I'll just say that. Now we can commit our changes. Put any message for you guys. It would be like, just to make things easier, you'd say like submission by, then your name, or try to shorten it if you have to, because there's a limit to the number of letters you can use. But yeah, something like that. I'll just put initial commit for now. It's usually the first kind of commit I like to use. You can commit. Usually after I commit, I'd like to come up here, more actions, and then push. But it's letting us publish branch since we haven't really done anything yet. So I'll just click this. Put to public repository. There you go. So now I've initialized the repository. I'll go on GitHub. See, it shows up here now. See, it has this file. You can look at it. Print hello world. It has this. Yeah. All right. So yeah, that video, it basically shows, first you download Git, you go to Git SCM/downloads. As I mentioned, for Mac, there are a bunch of options. The ones I like the most are homebrew Mac ports, or the one I really like the most is Xcode. Since it's very simple, you just go to the Apple App Store, download Xcode, and it'll come, or Git will come with it. But for Windows, as I showed it, you can click Windows and then you click download here, and there's a bunch of options. I somewhat sped through them, but you can always like look at them more closely and just choose whatever your preferences are. So yeah. And to make sure it's installed, you do git -- version. And if it shows a version, you have it installed. If it doesn't show anything, it's not installed. You should try again. So then you launch Visual Studio Code. Another thing I forgot to mention, because I had to redo the video and I forgot to redo this part. On the bottom left, there's like your head. It's a profile icon. You either click backup and sync settings or sign into sync settings, and then it'll give you an option to sign into GitHub. That's how you really use GitHub in Visual Studio Code. So I don't know, I'll just it's just like on the bottom left, okay? And then once you're in, I showed like committing and pushing, but I've seen some people have issues with it says we cannot identify you or something like that. If that pops up, either do git config -- global user.name and then your username, or do user.email and your email that you use for GitHub. But hopefully that won't happen to too many people. It's kind of rare. And then yeah, you open the folder that you created for the project, and the way I showed, you click initialize repository. I also mentioned two other ones. We had code spaces on there before, but we actually took it out, so it won't be in the documentation. But the other one, GitHub repositories, that will be in the documentation, the extensions. So yeah, the way I showed it is my favorite way to do it. Just click initialize repository, and it'll create it. And then once you like add your files and you publish the branch, then it's going to show up on GitHub. And yeah, to commit and push, you go to the source control thing, the menu, and then you click commit. Well, you have to put your commit message first, and then you click commit, and then it'll commit, and then you publish the branch to push it, or you do the 3 ... and you click push. So yeah, that's all about that part.
Okay, and now we're going to talk about how to clone the Git repository and make a new branch.
Hey everyone, I'm going to be showing you how to clone a Git repository in Visual Studio Code and then make a new branch in it. So here's the Visual Studio Code welcome page. So you can just click here for clone Git repository, but you can also just click in the search bar and go to show and run commands, click on Git clone, and then copy and paste the URL of the repository you want to clone. So press enter, and then you need to choose where you want to clone it in your file destination. I'll just do it in the Python projects I have. And would you like to open a clone repository? You can open it in a new window. I'm just going to click open. And now, as you can see, I'm in a clone repository from the URL I copy and pasted. So right now, it just says print hello world in the repository in this Python file. But if I want to create a new branch within, if I don't want to work in the main branch, if I want to work in my own separate branch, I can just click down here where it says main, click down here, create a new branch. Branch name, is name it whatever, I'll call it backup branch. And now, as you can see down here, I'm in the backup branch. So now I'm in my own branch. So whatever I do here won't affect anything in the main branch. Like you can just do this if you want to, if you don't want to risk breaking anything in the main branch. But anyways, so right now it says print hello world. I can do another print statement, print. Hi, my name is Timmy. Save the file. Then you can come down here, so source control, press the little plus sign right here next to changes, stage all changes. After you press that, then you can commit these changes into the repository. You can just type in any commit message and be like added new line of code. And then I can just press commit. And then after you commit it, you need to publish it to the branch. I'll just do publish branch. Now it's successfully committed in the backup branch in the repository. But now if you can also do a pull request, and what that does is it merges the branch you just made with the main branch. And you can do that by either going in GitHub and doing a pull request from there, or an easier way is come down here in the extensions, and then you can install the pull request extension. GitHub pull requests. As you can see, I already have it installed. But yeah, you can install this. It's from GitHub, official GitHub pull request extension. Install that, then come back. And yeah, once you have that, you can just, I have it right here, GitHub pull requests. I can do create pull requests. And you can just write anything you want here in the description, name it anything you want. Press create, and what that's going to do is when you do the create pull request, it'll send a notification to the owner of the repository saying, hey, I want to merge these two branches. Like if you're working with like your teammates or whoever you're creating code with, and going to be like, hey, I want to merge these two branches. I have some new code, and they can accept the pull request, and it will merge the branches together. So you can just press create here, and I just sent the request. And yeah, this it has no conflicts.
All right, so what you all saw was a way that you can use the Git repository, first of all, to clone someone's repository in GitHub, And what you'll need for that is to select the clone Git repository little link, and then you will go and try to copy the repository URL from GitHub into the text box. And that will then bring that repository over to you, but you need to select a location for that repository on your PC or wherever you're going to store it. And then we saw that we could also stay away from messing up the main branch by creating our own branch. And that was done by clicking on the little icon on the lower left-hand side and creating a branch. And you can name that branch anything you want, but the main purpose of that is to be able to play around and not mess up the main version that's out there for everyone. So if you do get to a point to where you think your code is good and you want to merge it with the main branch, if you don't have it already, you can install a pull request extension and then just go through the steps of pulling the request. You have to stage your changes, then commit them, and then do the create pull request. And what that is going to do is going to send a message to the owner of the repository to get permission. What you should check on when you do the create pull request is to make sure that you don't have conflicts with the merging. And that's it.
Okay, now let's watch a video on how to review and merge pull requests.
Hello guys, in this video, I'm going to be showing how to review and merge pull requests. So we should have the extension pull requests. So see GitHub pull requests, just add that. Now come down here to pull requests, and it shows 2 pull requests that have been opened by my colleagues, Moment and Layla. So I'm going to open Moments first. Let's see how we do this. See, it'll show like the differences between the 2. And let's see the description. So it kind of shows exactly how you would see it on GitHub, the website. So there's no description, but yeah, we can see over here the difference is added. Hi, my name is Timmy. So come back to the pull request. We can just leave a comment and approve it. Just say, for now, let's just say good addition. All right, now approve. Good addition. All right, now merge the pull request. Create, merge, commit. All right, so I merged it. We could delete the old branch, but for now I'm going to leave it. And let's see if it actually changed over here. It didn't. Might have to pull. Let's see. Yep, there you go. So that's a reason to pull. Whenever you merge a pull request, you can pull and it'll show up here. So now let's look at Layla's. All right, it'll add to the second line. This is Layla's world. So come back to description. So we can see the message. I added a new line of code to test this pull request out. Thanks. So let's leave a message, say the same thing. Good addition, approve. And now this branch has conflicts that must be resolved. Nice. So we need to make sure we can solve the conflicts. Let's see, your repositories, IDE project, another pull request, good addition, use the web editor or the command line, resolve conflicts. So I think this may be easier to do on the website since it's not opening that page for some reason. Yes, let's do it on the website. So we remove this part and this, not that, this, and we'd remove this. That should work fine. Mark as resolved. So now, maybe if I come back here, not that. Come back to the description. Yeah, it's better to do it through the website. Commit the merge. Checking for ability to merge. There you go. Now merge the pull request. Confirm merge. So now we've done it two different ways, through here and through the website. So now if I go back to main, how do I get out of this? See, it says it's successfully. Just go to main. Let's pull, and you see it all shows. So that's how you do pull requests. It gets a bit complicated when you have more than one, but we were able to figure it out by using a combination of Visual Studio Code and the GitHub website. So there you go.
Yeah, so what we did in that video, you just install the pull request extension, and then you want to do the pull request. A message might pop up asking for a folder to be open. You navigate to your local folder that holds your local repository, and then you click the pull request icon. And then and under the Solution Explorer, you want to navigate to the All Open tab and look for one of the pull requests listed under that heading. And then clicking on one of the pull request files listed under that heading will show the differences in the code that is to be merged. And then clicking on the description link above the list file name will display a GitHub pull request page. This pull request page will indicate if there are any conflicts that exist between the two files. As you saw in the video, one of the pull requests we did through Visual Studio Code, and then to resolve the merge conflict, we did it through the website. If there are no conflicts, you just simply approve and merge pull requests. And if there are conflicts, you go to the website. Then once you're in the GitHub folder, you can manually resolve the conflicts first that may exist between the two versions before merging.
All right, so now we go through one of the extensions, Live Share. It's a really useful extension. So here's our video about it.
Hey everyone, I'm going to be showing you how to live share your code within Visual Studio Code. So let's say you're working with a colleague or teammate and you want to see their code while you code at the same time. You can easily do that using the live share extension. So you're going to come down here in extensions, search up live share, and it should be the first one that pops up. And you want to install that extension. I already have it installed. But yeah, after it's done installing, you want to come back to your file. So I have this Python file right here. And down here, I can click live share. There's also a live share option at the left sidebar, but I'm going to use the one down here. Click on that. And as you can see, it says invitation link copy to clipboard. So yeah, I can just copy and paste this link to whoever I want. So I'm going to send it to my teammate Omar real quick in Discord so he can access the code and we can live share it to each other. So I'm going to copy and paste the code to him real quick in Discord. And then I'm going to give him time to open it up. Omar, do you see the live share, Omar?
Yes.
Okay,
I've
so I'm
opened
gonna
it.
show Omar's screen now.
Yep, I actually clicked the link and it sent me to Google Chrome, and I clicked open Visual Studio Code. Then it asked me to allow the extension, the live share extension, to be used, and I clicked allow. So now I'm here, and it starts me off by following my colleague Moment. I can always press enter twice and just type my own code. Hi, my name is Omar, and it should show up on his screen.
So as you can see, he just typed, "Hi, my name is Omar" on his Visual Studio Code. But if I come back to my own screen, I can also see what he typed. So yeah, he's basically live sharing his code with me. I'm live sharing my code with him. I can see what he's typing. He can see what I'm typing. Let's try it one more time. I'm gonna type something and let's see if he can see it. So I just typed that print statement. Let's see if he sees it on his screen.
Yep, I
And
see it.
he does. So now let's run the code and see if he can see my terminal displaying these print statements. So I'm gonna run the Python file real quick. As you can see, it's running the code down here. And then let's see if Omar sees it on his screen. And he does. Now Omar can also run the code from his side, but he needs to request access to actually run the code. So Omar, want to request access real quick?
Yep, so I'm in here. I just press some buttons and it asked me to request read-write access. So I click that.
And then I just got a pop-up down here saying make the terminal read write for everyone. I'm gonna click that. And now let's go back to Omar's screen. Okay, so now Omar can also run the code from his side. As you can see in his terminal, Omar, wanna run the code on your side?
Right, so to run the code, you do py, then you do space IDE.py, and it should run. There you go.
And as you can see, he ran the code from his side. And I can also see on my side that he ran the code. It's displaying in my terminal as well because we have a shared terminal now. And yeah, that's pretty much how live sharing works in Visual Studio Code.
So yeah, in that video, we showed a little bit about the live share extension. You can get it the same way we got the other ones. Go to extensions, type in live share, install it. And then on the bottom left, to the right of where it says your branch, you can see the button live share. You click that, you do start collaboration session, and it'll automatically copy the link. And then you just have to paste it wherever you want to. We did it through Discord. And so for the person who clicks the link, it'll open Visual Studio Code in the browser. You could just use it in there, but it also asks you permission to open it in the application Visual Studio Code. That's what I was trying to explain in the video. So I got that. I clicked open, so it opened it in there, and it automatically had me following Moments, wherever he was, and I could just freely type. I could see whatever he ran, and since he can also share his terminal, I just kind of open the terminal and you just type in, just press any buttons. It'll pop up, ask for, or like request read write access. So I clicked that and it showed up on his screen and he allowed me to type in, in the terminal, and then I was able to run it. There's another thing we didn't go through since our project doesn't need like a website, but you can also share a port. So if you're like working on a website with someone else, you can share the port, then you can both go to like localhost colon 8080, for example, if you share 8080 the port. So that's also really useful just for testing purposes. It's like seamless collaboration.
This is how to use GitLens and Visual Studio Code.
Hey everybody, I'm going to be doing a quick overview of the GitLens extension within Visual Studio Code. So like for every other extension, we just come down here in extensions, search up GitLens, and it should be this one made by GitKraken. I already have it installed, but you just install it. And yeah, so basically what this extension helps with is you can check, like if you're working with a team or with other people on the same project, it helps you keep track of who made changes and who modified what in the code. So for example, like right here, GitLens is helping by showing who modified this line of code in the project. So what, and if I hover over this, it shows that Omar merged this line of code into the main branch 3 hours ago on September 8th, 2024. And it shows a specific time. And within this menu, it also shows many other things you can do, like inspect the commit details. You can connect to GitHub, and you can do many other things within this little menu. Some other things you can do within GitLens is you can come up here and click on file annotations. Then there's 3 options you can do up here. You can toggle file blame, which shows all the specific details about the modification on the left, and on the right hand side is the actual code. You can toggle a file heat map, which shows what specific areas of the project were modified the most here on the left. And then you can also toggle file changes, and that basically highlights all the recent changes in the project. And then you can also come down here and click on visualize commits on the commit graph. And this is really helpful because it just shows, like, visualizes like all the modifications in one place. It shows a complete timeline of the commit messages, the authors, the changes, the time. It's just like a huge timeline you can just look at. And then this is good for, like, if you want to keep track of what happened, or like you want to retrieve a lost file or a lost line of code, you can come over here. And then you can also click on the side here, GitLens. You can click on down here. You can also click on GitLens down here. This also shows a lot of different things you can do within GitLens. For example, it shows a lot of information. It shows the specific line by line history of the project. It shows the file history. It shows like you can come down here and you can go and search commits if you want to look for specific commits. So if I click on this, I can search by message, I can search by author, search by file, like all these options. So let's say if I want to search for specific commits made by a specific person, so I'll click on search by author. And I want to look for commits that were made by me specifically, and just search for myself, and it'll show all the commits that were made by me down here. And yeah, that's a basic quick overview of GitLens. You can do a lot of things with this, but the main idea is it's just a way to keep track of everything within your team.
All right, so I guess, excuse me, I guess you all can see how very useful GitLens is. Once you install it, you don't really need to click that icon like Momin did at the end. It gives you more detailed information. However, if you just open that file, you could just hover over the individual lines and see basic information about who modified it, when they modified it, and other things. To get more pointed information, you could go to that file annotations icon in the upper right-hand corner and click on file blame. So that's blaming who made this mistake or what have you, but you could track who did what. And you also could track your changes, and then you could track, it has a heat map to indicate, I don't know what the colors are. If it's red, is that the last thing that was?
Yeah, red, purple, green.
Yeah, I don't know what each one indicates, but you can look that up and see which one was hit the most, which line of code. And then we saw the visualize commit icon on the lower left-hand side. And then that way you can, it gives you a line-by-line assessment of each change. And as Momin said, you could dig up old files that you thought you lost. So that's really cool. I think everybody should install this. It's a great utility.
Exit out the slideshow. Exit out the slideshow. No gifs.
Oh, gosh. Huh?
Okay, so here's some more cool features and extensions in Visual Studio Code that we didn't really feel like needed a video, but we wanted to show off. So one extension is called GitHub Copilot. It can accelerate your coding productivity by providing AI-powered code suggestions and auto completion. And that reduces the time spent writing, your normal boilerplate code and helps developers work more efficiently. There's also context-aware assistance, which understands the context of the project and offers intelligent code suggestions that also speeds up debugging and implementing complex algorithms. And there's also a learning tool for new developers, especially those still learning or working with new languages. Copilot serves as a helpful guide by suggesting the best practices in writing clean code.
Now there's turbo console log. I don't know if you can see all that, but generally what it does, you know how you always have to type in console.log to debug. You just want to print a bunch of stuff. It's basically like you can make a template and then you can just kind of auto complete, and it just speeds up the whole process of debugging and figuring out what's wrong with your program. That's basically it.
All right, and then here we have the code spell checker. And it's pretty self-explanatory, but it's very good to make your code very clean and in multiple languages. It can detect spelling errors. So we really suggest that. Okay, this is a good one I did, and I could have used this extension in my work experience because it's pretty cool. A lot of times I would do control all, replace all and muck up my code because I didn't realize a word, but we'll play the video. This is a video we did in Powtoons. Okay, so
here's some cool keyboard shortcuts that you can use in Visual Studio Code. You can use Control P, which quickly opens your file by typing part of the file name. You can do Control Shift plus P, that opens the command palette, and you can execute any command without needing to memorize the shortcuts for that command. You can do Control plus / that comments or uncomments the current line or select a block of code. You can do Control plus B, that opens or closes the sidebar, which houses your file explorer and source control. And you can also do Control plus D, which selects the next occurrence of the word under the cursor for multi-line editing.
So we mentioned a little bit before about the positives of Visual Studio Code, and now we have a specific other kind of IDE to compare it with, which is PyCharm. So you're probably thinking, why not just use an IDE specifically made for Python, such as PyCharm, if we exclusively use Python in our examples, or why not use any other IDE in general? What makes VS Code so special, and why did we choose it? So PyCharm would be better suited for someone who develops exclusively with Python. However, as software engineers, you should be flexible with your coding languages you use, and that's why Visual Studio Code is most widely used IDE among professional and casual developers. Python is just the language we chose to do the tutorials with to make everything consistent. But in the industry, you'll be using multiple languages. So some of the things we mentioned before, it's lightweight, fast, and uses fewer resources compared to heavier IDEs like PyCharm, which makes it ideal for large projects and responsive performance. There's a lot of customization and extensions that we showed some of them for languages, frameworks, and tools, which allows for a bunch of customization, including themes and keyboard shortcuts. It's cross-platform. Once again, Windows, Mac, Linux, the browser, different devices. Git support is built in and it makes it straightforward. The Git enabling you to manage repositories, commits, and conflicts directly in the editor. But PyCharm's Git features can feel a bit more cumbersome. Active development and community, see a lot of people use it and they're constantly updating it. So you can always find tutorials or just like people that can help you out with figuring things out. Integrated terminal, as I mentioned before, you just do it right in Visual Studio Code and it puts you in the folder. Wide language support, many languages, while PyCharm's only one. That's well, you could use more, but it's mostly for Python. IntelliSense and code navigation, the autocomplete can help a lot, just figuring out what you want to type, that kind of stuff. And it speeds things up. Debugging, you can put the breakpoints, all that stuff. So you can run it, stop at the breakpoint, see all the variables and all the values. It's really important to be able to do that, even beyond just console log. And then it's free and open source. It's completely free and open source. PyCharm, it has a paid professional version, and the community version, it offers limited features. So here's some of our sources, and
All right, let's see who was paying attention. Let's do a little Kahoot. And you might want to try in this because we got permission to give you guys a $25 Amazon gift card for whoever gets first. So yeah, if you want an Amazon gift card, you can just join this Kahoot.
get out of this, to be honest.
I'll set it up right now.
Full screen thing. You could do it through there.
Y'all are trying to sleep on us.
That music stuck in my head.
Can you move that?
Why is it not doing it? Oh, here we go. Keeps popping up. It's like every time I press escape.
Are you guys ready?
Yeah, I think you go to like, should be on the top right, join, and then you can put it in the middle.
Looks like a lot of you want that gift card.
Thank you.
Are going quickly because we have 10 minutes left. Did everyone? Are we good?
Yeah.
Right.
Right. Where's the mouse?
Right, to do this. Some of them are easy, some of them are kind of hard, so. All right, looks like 20 of you got it right. Some people weren't paying attention in the beginning. Scoreboard so far. Anthony's in first.
It's 3 times.
Time matters too then, huh?
Yes, it does. What was not one of the reasons Visual Studio Code was for software development?
All right, 14, you got it right. I think that one was pretty obvious. Abraham Lincoln, whoever that is it first. Didn't know he was alive.
Okay, what is the purpose of the command palette in Visual Studio?
Okay.
Oh,
Justin's in first.
Abe, you better come on. How can you install extensions in Visual?
This is a hard one.
wait.
What is the default key binding to open a command palette? This is a hard one.
Any one of these. Which one is it? I'll go, that one's kind of hard one.
That's fair.
It's one of the last slides. I kind of rushed over it. All good. Justin's still in first. Okay, let's go, Justin.
Which of the following is the default version control system integrated with Visual Studio?
Everyone should get this. Okay, then.
Misclick.
Hopefully.
Which shortcut opens the Explorer sidebar to navigate files and folders?
Yeah,
6 of you got it right.
Let's see if the scoreboards.
that's fair. That's fair.
Oh, Woe is in first. Oh no. Justin, what happened?
It's a GitHub Copilot extension group.
Yes.
Fire.
True or false?
The total spell checker extension was only for a.
Let's go, guys.
100%.
What is an integrated development environment?
All these make sense, but only one is right.
That one you gotta read for a little bit. Yeah.
Woe still in first. Another true and false.
Pull requests have to be approved by the repository. All right, what is the primary role of the build automation tools we talked about that are integrated into the IDE?
Probably the hardest question. All good.
Oh, it's getting close.
Visual Studio Code does not allow you to debug.
Gotta follow up with an easy one after the hard one. Yeah, it looks like Woe's running away with it, but Alex is close in second.
Kind of close.
What's a tool in VS Code that offers intelligent code completion, suggestions, and documentation as you type?
I wonder.
Yeah.
All right, you guys ready for this last question? This shows who has school spirit. It has nothing to do with computer science. But let's see who has school spirit.
This could mess up more.
What?
I didn't expect most of you to get that. Nice.
You guys know more than I do. Gosh.
Oh, who got first? Will got third.
Oh, whoa, way to go.
No, first. That's third. Justin got first.
Back. Back seats.
Who's Justin? Oh yeah, Justin, let's go.
Idea. Yeah. I can do that.
And that was our presentation. Hope you guys learned some new stuff.
Does anyone have any questions for the IDE group?
What? Thank you.
Excellent, very cool. I love it.
Thank you.
Great representation of a well-done workshop.
Thank you.
Very good.
Oh, try unplug this. Oh, thank you for letting me use this.
Oh, of course.
So you don't
Well,
forget.
and I think we've made it all the way exactly to about the end of our lecture hour. So I think that was a great illustration.